Fred again has kind of taken the electronic world by storm this year. Collaborations with the Swedish House Mafia, Skrillex, has been producing for a bunch of artists, and also that Boiler Room DJ set, which is kind of like an instant classic already, kind of like the Kaytranada set from a few years ago. So I first heard about him like late last year, early this year, and I've really been interested with his sound. I really wanted to try this style of production, which is quick, focuses on the emotion of the track, and it also relies on field recordings to help kind of take you back to that moment where he recorded it. So I'm going to go through and show you this track that I worked on today. And while I don't have field recordings, what I do have is I asked my girlfriend for a bunch of voice memos that she uses to kind of like sketch down song ideas. And I asked her just like, hey, give me these, nothing else. I had never heard them before. Don't do a second take or whatever, just give me them and I'm gonna make a song out of them. So the rules that I kind of gave myself for this track to sound like Fred again is to not overly clean up the vocal samples and to work with what I had. Don't try to recreate anything. I actually, prior when I was making this, I was like, oh, maybe I should drag in a splice sample, but I said no for the vocal aspect of things. Then the other rule I had was to not try to be perfect, just keep the ideas flowing and not stop and go back and tweak things 100 times. Just make a decision and move on. So pretty simple instrumentation here. Most of the crazy work I did is just mangling these vocals. So let's dive into Ableton and go through and see what I did here. And then make sure you stick around to the end to see the final product. So here's the track I'm going to be breaking down today. And if I had to put this close to a Fred Again song, it would be this, sorry, I don't know how to say this, but Faisal track from Actual Life 2. Here's a screenshot of me running through it on Tractor. So here's how this sounds. There's 3 samples up at the top here, and I'm going to show you, these are the samples that I worked this track from. And the main one is right here.
I wanna know, if I go, would you go?
Then I use this one as well, just for some like really small little chops, which you'll see.
I wanna talk to you when I feel blue, blue, so blue.
And then this third one here, which I think I only used for 1 chop.
I don't know why I do the things I do. Why did I fall in love with you?
So the first thing I did is that I took one of these and tried to match it to the production style and melody that Fred again uses in a lot of his tracks. So I ended up using that first one a lot. And what I did was I tuned it just a little bit. I didn't want to go crazy on it, and I definitely didn't want to go like ask for another version of it for my girlfriend. I wanted to get it like I just wanted to work with what I had. This is what it sounds like tuned, and it also has a little bit of little altar boy on it just to add some, just to thicken it up a little bit.
I wanna know, if I go, would you go? I wanna know, if I go, would you go?
And then you could probably hear there's a little bit of noise on there too. I actually felt this one was too clean if I was going to try to make a track like Fred again. So I actually added back a little bit of noise using RC20. This is a really cool plugin. I got it on a sale for super cheap. And it also takes off some of the high end as well. So yeah, let's go through the rest of the vocals. After I have this, I kind of tried to figure out, all right, like what else can I do with this vocal sample to stretch it out, make it interesting. And the first thing I came upon was adding a vocoder to help, again, thicken it up and kind of make it sound like a chorus, choir kind of sound effect. I did this by taking the vocal and vocoding it by a piano, which you'll see down the line, but here's just that soloed really quick. So this is something that I really focused on in this track, is chopping up the vocals. How I did this was I loaded here in Ableton. I'm able to take the vocal sample and split it by its transients. So you see this down here. See if we can open up that. So all these little lines indicate a different slice, and then I'm able to play it like an instrument. And actually, if I put up my MIDI really quick, here's the first one that I came up with. Would you?
I wanna know if I go, would you go?
Also in this intro section, the other chop I have is from that really rainy kind of vocal chop, if you remember that. Here's how I chopped it. Just kind of snipping little pieces out and pitching them up and down to make it do what I want it to. So that's kind of like the beginning of the track, and also here's the piano that comes in. Just super simple block chords there. And let me show off the chop that I have in this kind of build section I have. Here's the section again. And the way I kind of chopped it up, it almost makes it sound like if I would go back. That's why I have that clip name there. So let me solo that. So I think this really goes to show how when you chop a vocal sample up, you can kind of recreate words. You see this in hip hop a lot. One example is this. And then I have a couple synth melodies down here too to help thicken the vocal and add another layer to the track. Then there's that piano. And then I just have a pad that's kind of building. So this helps kind of keep the momentum and add some texture. This is an Ableton built-in synth too. All right, then I have some drums that are building. Let me solo the drum group. Just some simple hi-hat loops that are stacked, and then some drums that come in. These are super like dead simple, but that's kind of what I was going for here. So let's hear it go into that first big section, I call it. Here's me soloing the lead group. Just to walk through this really quick, here's everything just soloed. And all these Serum presets I think are from Splice. This is a little whistle kind of thing. This is a built-in Ableton patch right here called Prehistoric VHS. And then the same preset doing another thing right here on the right side. Then another Splice preset right here. And the only processing on any of these synths is just obviously side chaining, EQ to cut out the low end, and then I have this little delay effect to add some extra stereo-ness to it. Let's move on to our keys, which they just get more intense in this section. I have a second piano that has some different characteristics right in this here. Third thing in the piano group, this is really cool Native Instruments plugin called Noir, and what's nice about it has this thing called the Particles engine, which creates these really glitchy kind of piano effects, and I'm only using it for that. I'm not using the normal piano sound. So like here, take a listen to this. Our pad is doing the same thing, just an octave higher. Then bass. The bass is pretty interesting here. So I have this low, this one right here, just a super simple sub. And then the only other thing in the bass is this. So down in the middle, I have that normal sub line that's just like a modulated sine wave that is just providing the low end. And then I have this other synth. It's like providing information on the sides, and it's creating this like wide bass sound. So when the full mix is played, you can kind of hear it's only taking up left and right. All right, and then let's hear what the drums are doing in this main section here. So I got a simple kick right here. Got a just one clap sound. Few hi-hat loops just stacked on top of each other. I'll play each one of them soloed right now. And then I have this little break. This is just a splice sample here. So all this little textural information here. So let's hear the second part of this big section. So here the vocals come back in, and then we have the vocal chop going, and it's just kind of everything is built up to this big point. And then we break it down in this post-chorus section. So I'm excited to show you this here. So the first thing I want to show you is this vocal chop here and how it was processed. So firstly, I just chop the vocals up to like extend them and just manipulate them more. So the thing I'm trying to do here is take these small little vocal samples that I have and repurpose them, mangle them, and use them in a way that is interesting throughout the entire track. So take a listen to how I did that here. So if you recall, our normal section sounded like this.
I wanna know, if I go, would you go?
And then the chopped up version sounds like this. That's happening is because I have all of these samples warped with this complex pro algorithm in Ableton, and what that tries to do is preserve the best audio quality possible and keep the sample intact. It's for like complex, like full songs where you're trying to slow down an entire song or something. The other thing I have here, let's take a listen to that. You can hear that sounds really warped and mangled. And the reason for that is that I have it being warped with this beats algorithm, which is primarily for drums, if you're slowing down or speeding up drum sounds. So like really transient things is what it's meant for. And therefore we get this crazy sounding vocal sample. So I just stacked them together because I think it sounds really weird and cool. And then I'm chopping the vocal up again over in this section here. Just taking that same main sample but just chopping it in different ways. Then the piano and the synths are all doing the same thing throughout this section. And then also in the post-chorus, here's the drums that I have going on. It's just a sample, a couple samples. One is an amen break, and also this little sample from Splice. I took the idea of that break sound from a Fred Again song as well. That we kind of move on here to the breakdown, and then it builds back up. So listen to this breakdown section before we build it back up.
I wanna know, if I go, would you go? I wanna know, if I go, would you go?
Build it back up here. Bass going. Got drums going again. So this is a really unique way of working, something I haven't really quite done before. And it's not really something I normally do for my production business, which is One Channel Productions, by the way, where I make electronic music for solo artists and singers. So now I'm going to go ahead and play the entire track so you can get a feel for how the entire song developed and hear the final product. If you have any other questions on what I did here or what you saw, please feel free to leave a comment down below or hit me up at onechannelproductions.com. Thanks so much.
I wanna know, if I go, would you go? I wanna know, if I go, would you go? I wanna know, if I go, would you go? I wanna know, if I go, would you go?